Good evening and welcome to our Covenant Healthcare sponsored pregame show here on Bay County TV. Jeff Doan and Brian Dufresne along with you. We've got baseball tonight, Brian. We've got Bay City Central and we've got the Garber Dukes. Small ball was the difference in that first game.
Absolutely. It was a very, very tough game for the first one. It was a 6-5 final in favor of the Garber Dukes, and we're looking forward to the next game here at Garber Duke Field.
Now, as is most sports, they've really taken a hit this spring as far as games that have been scheduled. Right. It started with us hoping to do the Bay County Boys Baseball Tournament, and Mother Nature spoke otherwise. Mother Nature,
I'll tell you what, she dictates all the spring sports, and I'll tell you, she's been pretty tough in Michigan right now. I know some of the golf teams haven't even been able to be out. In baseball, when they're out, it's just like it is here today. Probably a solid 45 degrees with the wind coming out of the northeast at about 15. So she's a little chilly.
Well, and if you've ever been to Garber, you know we're real close to the bay. And when you get a nor'easter off of the bay, that means that you better be dressed and prepared for the weather.
Yes, yes. And there's a lot of people here watching the game and the doubleheader dressed in their ice fishing gear, of course, and that's what we're going to be facing here. And obviously the temperature is going to be dropping.
Well, we're going to have fun. We're forced with the toasty conditions up here in the press box. We're going to try and tough it out and make the best of it. We'll be back with all the game action right after this on Bay County TV.
How's married life? Are you ready to have a baby? Baby, baby. How about that baby? Ooh. I'm not getting any younger.
When you are ready. With the only neonatal intensive care unit in the Great Lakes Bay region, Covenant is the safest place for your delivery. Go to mycovenantbaby.com.
Good evening and welcome back here on Bay County TV. Jeff Doan and Brian Dufresne along with you. Second game all set to go, Bri. And it looks like we're going to have some fun out here as the wind continues to whip.
The wind out of the northeast, which is blowing pretty hard, I'd say 15 miles an hour. And we have the freshman, Mr. Hugo, starting for the Garber Dukes on the mound. And our number 2 catcher there is Mr. Kazmersky.
As they are the battery, 1-1 the count, as the Spencer Maltrop will lead off for Bay City Central. And safe to say, if you can get one up into the jet stream, you have an opportunity to trot the bases here in this second game.
Absolutely, and Logan Hugo did exactly that in the first game, got one up in the jet stream, and she was out of the park.
This is a beautiful complex out here, and I know one of the things that they're hoping to do one day soon is to give it an official name. There are many potential suitable people as a high lazy fly ball to left field.
And Jared Harrell out in left field falls under it and makes it out number 1.
Well, you always like that first opportunity of the game to be a nice high lazy fly ball, but you better stick with those fly balls today because they'll be dancing up there in the jet.
I have a feeling of that with the wind. Again, she's still moving. The flag is pretty stiff out there in left center, and it's not very warm either here today. I can tell you that.
Well, we're in better shape than the fans out in the seats for some reason, I think. So,
yeah. You know, when I had the opportunity to fill in for Mr. Guzdella because of a family situation, it was just like baseball, pitch hitting, and I'm glad to be up in the box.
As Glish is the batter for Bay City Central, and we're more than happy to have you along.
I appreciate that very much.
It's 1 ball and no strikes. As Hugo comes again, and there's a little lazy fly ball to left field. Looked like it had a chance to drop, and it is caught again as the left fielder's making all the plays here in the first inning.
I tell you, Gerald's going to be busy, it looks like, right now. He's 2 for 2. What a great young man he is out there in left field and doing well. Now we have number 4, Hayden Jacek, the second baseman for Bay City Central, stepping to the plate against the freshman Logan Hugo.
As a second-year player on the varsity, Mr. Jacek has certainly had some fun and is a very talented young man and multi-sport athlete as well.
Yep, and he's like you said, he's a very good young man and great athlete, and wish him the best.
There's another ball just inside right now. First 2 pitches trying to crowd him a little bit. He's a big fella, and they don't want to get those arms extended out
Right,
there and
right,
see if he can drive one into the gap.
You don't want to get it in the jet stream, as we were saying earlier, the airstream up there.
Hugo sends a 2-0 pitch, a waist-high fastball right down the middle, and Hayden says, boy, I wish I had that one back. Had a good swing at it, but just undercut it a little bit, fouled it off. 2 balls, 1 strike right now. 2 down in the top of our first inning here at Garber Dukes. As Jacek just a tad tardy on another inside fastball, as again they continue to pound him in on the hands.
He gets on that early. It could be a nice rip and put it out in play. We'll see it at 2-2 with 2 outs in the top of inning number 1.
You go into the windup and the pitch just inside once again, and that one just shaved the inside. And how about the view we get up here? The umpires certainly have the best view along with the catcher, but I think we're second.
The view is great, and the temperature is even better.
Inside a mirror of the pitch prior, and Jacek with a great eyes out there, and Hugo dancing around on the mound a little bit. He thought maybe he could have got one of those 2 to go his way, but it's ball 4, and Central with their first base runner of the second half of the doubleheader.
And now we have number 18, junior Brendan Galoner, stepping in and see what Mr. Hugo can do with Mr. Galoner here.
Hugo again comes to the inside, and that is going to allow Hayden Jacek to come around and move to second base. And it's always fun when that ball's at the backstop. You can always afford to take the nice wide turn around second base and get a gracious look at where things are happening.
And Mom won't have to wash the uniform on that one.
And that makes Mom happy, too. The Tide stick can stay in the bag.
Absolutely.
There's one right down the line, just past the third baseman. Jacek coming home.
Going to be a play at the
There
plate.
is going to be a play at the plate.
And
a perfect throw, and he is out.
Out.
What a great job, as the left fielder has a hand in all 3 of the first inning plays. We'll take a break and be back with the bottom of the first right after this on Bay County TV. AAA Transport and Limousine is the Great Lakes Bay region's most reliable and requested service. We provide many types of transportation services, from non-emergency medical, wheelchair accessible, school transport services, and shuttle services. Our company strives to provide exceptional service to our customers. Our services are tailored to each person or company's specific needs. For the last 10 years, we have pushed the mark higher and higher to give the best service possible. Rest assured that you are in safe hands when you ride with AAA Transport and Limousine. Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Doe and Brian Dufresne along with you. Spencer Maher comes up to bat for the Garber Dukes here in the bottom of the first inning. And who do we have on the mound for Bay City Central?
We have the senior Seth Chesla, who usually plays first base, and he throws in part-time on the mound.
He's going to have his hands full again. This Garber Duke offense is very potent potentially, so Bay City Central is going to have to try and keep it close here and hope that Chesla can find himself a gem here in the second half of the doubleheader.
Absolutely. The Garber Duke team has talent in batting order from 1 to 9. These kids have been playing a lot of baseball together, and they're doing very well at this point in the season.
2 balls and no strikes the count. Chesla into the windup. Much better offering, and great defensive play as he snags it, and he just has a nice little lollipop toss to first base for the first out of the bottom of the first.
That's absolutely beautiful when you can take care of it on your own as the pitcher, bounce back to you. Nice easy step and soft throw to the first base. So we get out number 1 in the bottom of inning number 1.
What happens, though, when you get that ball and you've got too much time? That lollipop can end up being an air mailer. You can either short arm it or toss it over the top. So, you need to try and put something on it, but you don't want to take the mid off the first baseman with a rocket.
Right. Just want to play catch with them. Get it down there and get the out and move on to the next batter, which is number
Caleb
14.
Dawson. Dawson with a bunt. And there is going to be a good pickup.
That was Parker Jacek. Seth
Parker.
Dawson, yeah.
All right.
That's Bay City Central, but that was Mr. Jacek for the Garber Dukes. Laid down a nice bunt and made a very close play at first base. But again, out number 2 Seth Cheslow's making quick work here. He's only thrown about 4 pitches so far in the bottom of inning number 1. Now we have who is an absolute super kid, Charlie Newton. Charlie Newton is an all-around athlete and a great young man. Flies out to center field where we have out number 3, Charlie Newton.
And that looked like an adventure trying to get to that fly ball as it was dancing around, but a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the first. We'll go to the top of the second and be back in just a moment here on Bay County TV.
Oh, hey, you got one of those insurance apps too? You know how this thing works?
No, sorry. Ben, please?
Wow, you can talk to your app? That's pretty cool.
Not an app, it's my agent.
In this moment,
No, I'm fine, thanks.
it's good to know you have a trusted, independent auto owner's insurance agent who's there when you need them.
Great.
Man, I gotta get one of those.
Auto Owners Insurance.
Plum Harris Insurance Agency in Bay City is your local independent auto owners insurance agency. Welcome back here, top of the second inning. Jeff Doan and Brian Dufresne along with you here on Bay County TV. Quick work by both teams in the first inning. Here we are on to the top of the second. Schumacher with a lazy fly ball, too. That one had a little bit of oomph on it, but I'm going to tell you what, back as the jet stream carried that lazy fly ball to medium deep left field.
Back, and a little bit left to right, a little right to left, left to right, and great catch by Jared Harrell. Now, Jared Harrell is responsible for all 4 so far of Bay City Central's outs. 3 fly balls and a nice throw home.
This could just be like the king in his court. Maybe they'll just bring 3 or 4 of the players in and just let the people that are making it happen do it all.
Yes, sir.
Foul ball by Bay City Central. Number 2, Ethan Dufresne is a young man that you are at least vaguely familiar with.
Vaguely familiar with Ethan Dufresne. Yes, he seems to spend a lot of time around my house.
He knows where the fridge is at, too.
Yes, he does. Trust me on that. Quite often.
You always love it when they bring their friends over, but I'll tell you what, you need a lock on your fridge because they're like locusts when they find food and smell it.
Absolutely.
It finds a way of disappearing. What a nice change of pace there on a off-speed pitch, just a little bit high. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Top of the second, still no score.
Here's the delivery from Logan Hugo, and we have a solid base hit down the left field line by number 2, Ethan Dufresne. Nice hit down there. Of course, I'm going to say nice hit.
It was a nice line drive, and I'll tell you what, a nice play by the left fielder. That almost got by him, and that would have been 2 or 3 if he ended up not making a nice play on that ball. He stung it.
Yes, he did. He hit it on a nice line. And I tell you what, Jared Harrell out in left field, he's a little bit busy tonight already. Now we have number 13, Anthony Bernard, playing third base right now. Anthony Bernard Jr.
Bernard just a tad tardy again on that first offering from Hugo. As it's no balls and 1 strike here in the top of the second inning. As Hugo again, very, very nice to see that freshman on the mound with great control and command. And Dufresne looks like he's got a nice lead. He leans towards second. And he stays right now, but I think he is eyeing up the pitcher Hugo and seeing if he could size him up and see if he can take off and go for a little swipe of second.
Yeah, you know what you like about these county games and these teams that are playing each other? A lot of these kids know each other and have grown up with each other, have been great friends for many, many years.
There is a tailor-made right there, and almost a nice pickup at first. First of the 2 on the double dip, force at second base. And an errant throw could not be picked up on that play by number 40, who pinch hit in the first game, Grant McMartin. And that puts a runner at second base for Bay City Central with 2 outs in the top of the second.
Yes, sir. Now that's the first out that our left fielder, Jared Harrell, has not been involved in. So we knew it would take some time, but not that much time for somebody else to get involved. And now we've got 2 outs in the top of number 2, and Mr. Hugo's bringing it down the pipe.
Boy, right on the outside corner, just painted the black right there, and number 20, Jacob Morse. So that's not something that I can do a whole lot with that pitch. I'm going to have to take that one and hope that he makes a mistake on number 2. Hugo coming inside again. He's really moving around up and down and in and out as the freshman really has got some savvy on the mound.
Yes. You know, Mr. Hugo's obviously a very tall, very well-built young freshman who has obviously been able to pick his spots on the plate.
As the ball is fouled off, Jacob Morse battling with 0-2 with 2 outs. No score here in the top of the second inning. Brian, you talked for just a minute about these kids knowing each other and playing, but you look through especially the Little League success, the Pony League success, the Colt League success. These kids have grown up with baseball success their whole lives.
Yes. Well, you know, a lot of it started over in Essexville, Hampton, and Northeast Little League and so forth in the city of Bay City. These kids all get to play together. But, you know, one of the things that doesn't get a lot of credit is the Lumberman organization that has a lot of travel, which most of these, if not all of these kids, have been playing on for 5, 6 years.
Well, Lumbermen, some play River Dog balls, so, I mean, that's the off-season competition that they're involved in. But, you know, just even through especially Pony League, how they've made runs nationally so many years in a row. Dan Rivette and that group over at the Pony League just continue to put out factories of baseball players.
You know, you have a very successful area when you have a youth program that has a great Little League and it goes into major leagues. You have a successful county that participates in it, and it continues to grow up to high school ball, and they do very well. And I tell you what, Bay City, Bay County, has been very well known throughout the state for its baseball, for sure.
Well, and you can look right back to the Little League from last year. Southwest Little League ended up with a state championship as they were able to come away with a big victory. And, you know, for many, many years, I mean, the toughest games for these Bay County kids pretty much are playing against Midland and Saginaw. Once you get through and out of that area, then they're in for a nice long run. But unfortunately, they beat each other up before they have an opportunity to see who's still standing after all three of those communities get done with the baseball.
Absolutely. And a lot of these kids on both teams, the Garber team and the Central team last year, went down to the Colt League, to the zone championship, because the Colt League from Bay County won the state championship and went down to Indianapolis and played, or Lafayette last year, and played down there where they got to play against Venezuela and a lot of different teams from United States, but a couple international teams as well. It was a great experience. So these kids, they take baseball pretty serious in Bay County.
Well, and that's a great place to go to, a nice college town, home of the Purdue Boilermakers. Lafayette is just a incredible place, and I'm sure they were a great host for that tournament.
Absolutely. It was a great time down there, and the kids had a great time and represented Bay County very well.
As we're at the bottom of the second right now, as the wind continues to whip as we look at Old Glory out in left center field right next to the Garber Duke scoreboard. And we thought we had a change there at the behind the plate, but we just had him getting his gear back on.
That's right, the last batter up, so you had to go in there and put on all that equipment again, and we're at 0-0 after 1.5, and that wind is still kicking out there in left center. We're just below the 360 sign out there, so 360 could be about 320 today if you get her up there in the air.
That certainly would make a difference, as it will not take the poke that it would take on a normal day to get it going. You just got to get it up, as Hugo will lead things off for the Garber Dukes.
And speaking of that, this young man put one out of over the fence in the first game. And as a freshman, Logan Hugo, left center, left field, he's quite an athlete and just a great addition to this Garber Duke baseball program.
And he looks to have one of the shorter bats that I've seen. And, you know, the kids have all got their own sizes of bats. And we'll talk about the incurred expense of those bats as we go along.
The BB Core, which is a completely different bat 2 years ago that they changed in the state of Michigan, that they were using some of the other bats, the older style bats that had actually kind of trampolined the ball off, which were getting very dangerous, and a lot of athletes were getting hit and hurt by those. So they went back to the BB Core, which is, you know, a great opportunity as long as it's a level playing field for each kid.
Just Hugo gets under that, and it is just a Never a routine play, and fighting that the whole way was the third baseman, Anthony Bernard. And you could tell he had a beat on that on a normal day, and then once that thing started dancing up there, he was really scrambling to try and get it, and it still went over his shoulder.
Tell you, that's a tough play, because obviously Logan Hugo, big kid, hit it really high, major league height on that, and it is a difficult play. It's not routine.
Grant McMartin up to bat now for the Garber Dukes. And that's inside. McMartin had to kind of bail himself away.
It looked like he was doing a little dancing on that one there to get out of that way. That was quite inside.
Well, when you're a guy like McMartin and you're all dug in there ready to turn on something fast, and it comes to the inside, that keeps you a little light in the feet.
Mm-hmm. And Grant McMartin also has some great power and ability. He could put one definitely close to the fence itself.
He says it's not quite as fair, though. The wind's blowing out to left field, and so he goes that way, and that ball drops in. And Garber starting their first rally of the ball game, their first two hitters in the bottom of the second, safely on base. So you know what the officials are going to do right now? They're going to take that right hand and put it over their left hand part of their chest, and they are going to signal infield fly rule is now in effect.
Absolutely. That would be the first hit for the Garber Dukes. So Grant McMartin puts on the board the first hit, and it's still 0-0 in the bottom of number 2.
I like the way McMartin took that outside pitch, just went with it, and served it up into left field.
For a big guy, he's got some soft hands, knows what to do with the ball.
They're trying to sacrifice bunt, and again, we saw small ball at work in the first game, and Garber with some success with that. Tries to continue that here in the second game.
Yeah, we talked about that watching the first game, that small ball obviously is going to be a factor between you winning 1 or 5 or 6 different games. Small ball at this level, when you're very competitive teams against each other, could mean the difference.
And they are looking to get 2 runners into scoring position. I think they'll try and bunt one more time. No, they call off of the bunt, and whew.
Good thing for Mr. Schumacher over on first base, because he's only about 30 feet off of the plate.
Yeah, he's
taking the
charging
bunt
hard. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody out, 2 runners on for the Garber Dukes. A swing and a miss that time, as again they're taking off the bunt, and Harrell finds himself in a hole right now at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And Mr. Cheslaw on the mound is doing very well. Now he's up at a 1-2 count, and he has the opportunity to take advantage of that in his favor.
Looks the runner back with a double look and comes with an off-speed pitch, and can't really go anywhere when there's somebody at first base. It's a nice thought to take off, but that will be a ring out for Cheslaw. And the first out of the inning, infield fly rule still in effect with 1 down.
Absolutely. As a batter, you know that when you swing and you hear it hit the ground or see it hit the ground, you need to take off running. It's just a great reaction. That means you've been coached well, and, you know, if there's somebody on first, then you turn around and go back to the dugout. But if not, you just get moving.
Well, and that certainly changes the potential for the sacrifice as the first pitch on the batter, and that is Wakeman Edelbrock. Takes one right down the middle.
Wakeman Edelbrock coming from the left side of the plate today. So that's the second left-handed batter that Garber has shown. Mr. McMartin, who's sitting on first, and now Wakeman Edelbrock. A little tapper foul down first base. Foul.
Edelbrock looked like he sensed the off-speed pitch was coming. He just couldn't wait long enough on it, pulled it foul, and it's no balls and 2 strikes right now with 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning. Garber with the first opportunity of the ball game with a runner in scoring position and 1 down. They tried to come with a second off-speed pitch, and that ball is reeled in by the center fielder from Bay City Central. Very quickly gets it back in. No runners advance. First and second now with 2 down in the bottom of the second.
Mr. Birdsall out in center field made a great play on that ball, and he did what he was coached to do. Hit that cutoff man, so that would create the opportunity, not the opportunity, I should say, for the runner on second to advance to third. So that was a great play by Mr. Birdsall out in center.
Well, what he does with a runner on as opposed to with nobody on is he kind of circles around that ball to get his momentum going forward so that he can take it back. Boy, that's a little squibber, and this is going to be an interesting play. Chesla, the first baseman, says, I'm going to make this look easy as he scoops the ball up. And at the end of 2 innings of play, no score here between Garber and Central. Back in a moment on Bay County TV.
You treat your family with extraordinary care every day, which is why when it comes to their health, more of you choose Covenant Healthcare. We specialize in extraordinary care, from diagnosis to recovery, from babies to grandparents. Learn more about our extraordinary bariatrics program. Sign up for our free seminar.
All right, welcome back to Bay County TV as the comedy bug is hit up here, apparently. Jeff Doan and Brian Dufresne. Glad to have you along, Brian, stepping in for Mike Wisdala, who's tending to an ailing mother, and hope everything continues to go well. But we're in very capable hands here, so we're glad that you could step up into your first foray of broadcasting a ball game. And I think this will probably be something that you cherish for the rest of your life. You can cross this off your bucket list.
Absolutely. It's going to be off that bucket list in a hurry. Just, again, thank you. And, anytime I have the opportunity to fill in for Mr. Gwizdala and help him out in a pinch, I would be able to help him. And, hopefully mother is fine and everything's good. And God bless her. And it's an opportunity to be here. And what a great game.
Well, and he doesn't know it yet, but it's going to cost him lunch. So,
if you know Mike as well as I do, that wallet doesn't open very often.
It doesn't. It squeaks and squeaks, but I'll tell you, it's all fun. That one right at home plate, and look at that. Nice job by the catcher to haul that ball in for out number 1. Boy, when the catcher catches that ball, and I caught for a number of years, you got to spin that mitt around. You can't pick it up over your head like you're catching a pop fly.
And not only that, but he's dancing around the bat that's sitting by his feet and the plate and
his mask. And
yep, Mr. Kazmersky is quite the great catcher. He's a good young man as well.
Yep, that's why catchers learn when they're looking for that pop fly. They want to get rid of the ball. There is a long fly ball deep to left, and that ball is up against the fence as Spencer Maltrup is going to cruise into second base with a shot off of the base of the left field fence.
I'll tell you what, I thought he had it up in the airstream. She could have been close. She hit about, 3-4 feet on the bottom of the fence. Nice pull by Mr. Maltrup, who definitely got around on that one. Now we have Mr. Glish coming to the plate, who hopefully can put the ball in play and get Mr. Malthrop on down to third, maybe home.
Well, too, and looking to see the way Garber will play defensively on the infield, if Glish has an opportunity to spray one to the right side, there is a big hole on the right side of the infield, as well as the center fielder shaded a little bit to left. So that first pitch just a little bit low right now, and Hugo's got to work out of the stretch right now, and with Central's first runner in scoring position.
Right now, I wouldn't be too surprised if he put a bunt down towards first base. Woo.
That ball inside, and Glish able to get out of the way. Hugo really is snapping the mid on the catcher,
yes,
so he's really bringing it.
He's bringing it down there. You've got a nanosecond to make a decision if you're going to get out of the way, swing, or whatever you're going to do. And he's doing a great job on the mound for Mr. Hugo.
It's amazing as we've got a 3-ball and no strike count as Hugo looks to be a little less comfortable out of the stretch than he is out of the windup right now, and he's having a little trouble adjusting to that with a runner on second base. 3-ball, no strike count, and it's ball 4. And again,
straight.
When you're the batter and you even realize it's ball 4, you always want to hesitate for that split second in case the umpire gives a little extra on the inside corner so that you don't make the umpire look bad.
No. In the sport of baseball, the umpire is the one person, other than coach, you don't want to have angry or have a little bad disposition looking at you, because I'll tell you what, they can make it rough up there. If it's close, it's close. And it's in.
And, in the years that I umpired, if it was even close, you better have the bat going through the zone, because I despised giving out walks as an umpire. If that ball's hittable, you better have the bat in motion.
That's the name of the game. Now we have
Jacek.
Mr. Jacek up. We have a wild pitch and runners advance to third and second. Now we've got runners in scoring positions at third and second with one out with Hayden Jacek at the plate with a 1-ball count.
Now, if you're Hayden Yachuk, after 5 straight balls, you have got to be disciplined as a hitter. You've got to have that ball in a postage stamp area if you're whacking on 1-0 here.
Yep.
As that ball is low. 6 straight balls out of the stretch right now for Hugo. And
Boy, as a batter, though, if she's right down the plate nice and pretty, I'm thinking about postage stamping it to left center.
Well, 2-0, you're almost assured to be seeing a fastball, and it should be coming down the middle. It was down the middle, but it was high. Good discipline that time by Jacek. Now, inside Hugo's head, with 1 out and first base open, Jacek is a very good hitter. Maybe you just don't want to intentionally walk him, but you don't want to give him anything too pretty to hit.
Nope,
and there's ball 4. 8 straight balls.
All right, Mr. Hugo's going to have to Garber's going to take a timeout to let Mr. Hugo gather himself, and knowing Logan, he'll gather himself and come back and give it his best effort.
So no official mound visit. I don't think this is like the major leagues. I don't think they count 6 and you're done. I think you get 4, do you not?
Yeah. I don't know if it might be 2 in 1 inning.
2 in 1 inning, 4 for the game.
Yep,
yes.
2 in 1 inning, and you're out. Now we have number 18, Brendan Galona, the junior, who's, I believe, DHing.
And then Galoner, I'll tell you, is another kid that could find the gap in a hurry here. He's got a great stick for Central. And that ball high again, as Hugo has come with most of those pitches over the plate, just having trouble bringing it down. And a lot of times you got to have that stride point that's got to be down so that you can bring that arm up and over and get that ball to settle down. And that one just at the knees is 1 ball and 1 strike. Gloner didn't want to take a look at that thing. He couldn't really do much with it, so he'll live for another pitch.
And knowing Mr. Garcia, Coach Garcia, who's a very experienced coach, is after seeing 8 or 9 in a row, he's going to say, hold on, gentlemen, let's wait. Play at home.
And there is a play at home. There is no play anyplace else. And as a third baseman, you want to make certain that you get that good throw and get the lead runner. And that's exactly what happened that time for LeBron.
Hayden LeBron made a great play, nice field of the ball. And then again, you want to make that nice solid throw home so it gets there quick, not lob it or put a little extra on it. Just a nice play catch with your catcher and throw it home for that out.
Well, it's nice, too, that it's a force out instead of the having to make a tag and with the potential with contact at the plate.
Absolutely. Step away. We don't want anyone injured.
It's 2 down and first pitch on the inside. And, boy, I'll tell you, when you look at the end of this inning, no matter if Central scores or not, Hugo's had to throw a lot of pitches.
Yes, he has. He's getting up there in the pitch count. And we have number 8 for Bay City Central, Mason Schumacher, Jr., who's a first baseman, pretty solid young man, and a good wrestler is that as well.
And he's looking to find something that he can drive. And we've got timeout as Mason decided to step out. Sometimes you do that because the pitcher takes too long. Sometimes you just want to try and throw that pitcher's rhythm off a little bit.
That's right.
A little gamesmanship. And Schumacher out in front of an offering.
As a batter, you want to let them know, I'm in control. You're going to pitch when I'm ready. And if you sit there and stare at each other, the pitcher and the batter, you know what? Step out, give the umpire the hand. Let me take a timeout, and let's do this all over again.
You like to make sure that you're totally focused. Here's Hugo out of the stretch. As Schumacher puts a charge into one, and that is going to be over the head of the center fielder. And that could bring in 3 runs as Schumacher cruises into second base. And the play bobbled by the second baseman. No play at the plate. Cleaning the bases is Schumacher with a shot to right center field.
One hop off the fence. Charlie Newton, center fielder, didn't have a chance. That was hit on a line. That was not up in the airstream. That was definitely hit on a line. Mason Schumacher.
Now, if Mason gets that up a little bit, then that certainly would be still going right now.
Yes, or he'd be trotting around.
He would be having a little bit of a trot going, but it was a nice bases clearing double for Schumacher. Boy, a nice off-speed pitch by Hugo, and you could certainly tell that Ethan was looking for the heater, and first pitch goes to Hugo.
First pitch to Hugo, and he froze him on that one.
These are a couple of players that have potentially seen each other maybe once before. Comes back off speed again. So he's trying to get inside Ethan's head, but Ethan says, that's all right. I'm just looking for one little piece of cheese here.
Just throw it down and I'll make something happen.
1 ball and 1 strike, 2 down, 3-0 Bay City Central, top of the third. As Ethan Dufresne pops one foul and just gets out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes right now.
Now we have a pitcher's count. So now you have a pitch to toss off, so to say. But you got to be careful. Don't get too reckless because you have a base runner on second, so he's going to have to bring it down at him.
Let's see if he continues that trend and tries to go inside, which he's done with most of the people. And this one is right to the shortstop. Bobbles it, but shortstop usually has your strongest arm. Up and to first base, just at enough time to get him out. And I'll tell you, the player from the Garber Dukes that made that play, Parker Yachek, is stinging his hand right now because his hand stopped that ball and he picked it up and threw it, and then it goes, ouch, it does hurt. But you don't think about that till you release the ball.
Until it's done, until you get that out, then you can worry about it.
So the going into the bottom of the third inning, Bay City Central dents the scoreboard first. Again, as a great play to make things happen. We'll take a quick break and be right back after this on Bay County TV.
You don't think it'll happen to you, and you surely don't think it'll happen twice. I've lost 2 homes in my lifetime. First, it was a fire. My agent was right there and helped me rebuild. Then the tornado hit and destroyed everything again. Both times, my independent agent and auto owners took care of me like someone takes care of family.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there. Auto Owners Insurance.
Plum Harris Insurance Agency in Bay City is your local independent auto owners insurance agency. Stop by our office at 706 South Euclid or give us a call to see how we can help with your home, life, auto, and business insurance needs. Welcome back to the bottom of the third inning. Fournier to lead off for the Garber Dukes as they spotted Central 3 in the top of the third inning. As the first ball is another in between. Boy, it looked like it had a chance to drop and is reeled in by the center fielder for Bay City Central, out number 1 here in the bottom of the third inning.
For the Dukes, the second baseman, number 4, Spencer Maher.
Spencer Maher is up to bat right now with 1 out in the bottom of the third. As the first pitch is just a little bit low and outside. Spencer Maher, great multi-sport athlete. As there's a little squibber down the third base line, taking an extra step and then rifling the ball to first base. Just a little bit late. That extra couple of steps going towards first base to try and gather himself. Then he had to hurry the throw, came up a little bit short. And the Garber Dukes with a runner on first base. Coming up for the Garber Dukes right now, Parker Yachek. And Parker, we'll see how well he hits because his hand might be stinging a little bit from knocking that last ground ball down to end the top of the third.
And knowing Parker Yachek, he's going to, come in there and be happy to be at the plate. And, I think he'll toughen up. He's a tough young man, and right now he's not even thinking of his hand. He's thinking about how to get this ball in play.
He's thinking, I got to get this thing and snap it off of Charlie there, just trying to keep everything off balance. And when it's cold sometimes, that grip on the baseball is tough to master.
Absolutely, especially when that wind is still coming out of the northeast. He had a pretty good clip.
Boy, and I'm going to tell you what, that was a great pitch, and Parker Yachek took that front foot and was bailing just a little bit. It froze him, and he was expecting another breaking pitch, and he got one right down the pipe.
I'm bailing. I was bailing from up here watching that break.
Well, I got to tell you, watching the girls softball game down there, Jim Wood and Joe Patriga umpiring that game, we got a chance to see a sophomore pitcher from Escanaba, and she has already got an agreement to go to Wisconsin to pitch at the next level, as we've got a ball 4 here and 2 runners on now for Garber. But it was just fun to stand behind home plate and watch her just carve up a very good Garber girls softball team.
It's beautiful to watch somebody with that just natural athletic ability to come in there and dominate. And obviously, signing as a sophomore to Wisconsin, she's got something going very well.
And the girls came down from Escanaba, and everybody over there was cold, and Escanaba's like, this is a warm summer day for us. It's in the 40s.
We just got done shoveling snow last night in Escanaba in the moonlight.
This is beautiful. Has a 1 ball and no strikes. Another big opportunity here for the Garber Dukes. As a strike called, 1 ball and 1 strike here with 1 out.
And I'm going to tell you, a young man at the bat right now, Charlie Newton, number 4, great kid. You'd love to have him batting with 2 people on and 1 out anytime.
He handles the bat pretty well. And there is a high fly ball to center field. And overshooting the cutoff man, but the trail runner not able to advance. And a lot of times that's what will happen if you miss the cutoff man, that trail man. But he can't get too far off first because a cutoff and a throwback.
Take you to second, right?
Yep. So it's a cat and mouse game as to liberties that you can take.
Right, and that ball was hit quite deep to center field, so I doubt very much that they would have been able to throw him out at third, so hitting the cutoff man would have been the right choice, and obviously Central benefited from the first base runner not making it to second, so we got 2 outs with runners on first and third, and we have the pitcher to help himself out, Mr. Hugo. Logan Hugo here to help himself out as the pitcher, with Bay City Central leading right now 3-0 in the bottom of inning number 3.
And the game moving along pretty good. There's a chance we're going to be able to get all 7 in. Hugo has an opportunity as he sends that thing to left field and trying to catch that ball and down the left field line with a circus catch. That wind played games. Hugo hit that ball about 310, but he needed to hit it another 10 feet. Good play by Central to end the half inning.
And I tell you what, that young man out there in left field, Mr. Malthrop, I have seen that young man make many of circus catches, and he's a great athlete and a great baseball player, and any coach would love to have that young man on his team.
We'll take a quick break and be back right after this on Bay County TV.
Sports give so many opportunities to kids. It gives them an opportunity to see where they fit within a team, persevere, understanding how to work with different personalities. Those are the lessons that will make you a successful adult. As a mom, you have to have an understanding of what concussions are.
Concussions are things that are treatable. If we take care of athletes, they will be able to develop and have a long, happy, healthy life.
Back here at the top of the 4th, Brian, we got a little pitching change going on.
Yes, we have a left-handed young man, Wakeman Edelbrock, and it looks like Mr. Logan Hugo moved out to left field.
So a little left-hander to throw a little different look at Bay City Central. And he looks like most of his pitches in the warm-up were that curveball. He is trying to get a feel for that on this cold day, and he's got great break on his curveball.
Absolutely. Wakeman being a big, lanky left-hander, looks like he can bring it down the plate. Just got to find his range. Now we hit third. Jared Harrell, a little bobble. Bad throw. Now we have Mr. Bernard going to second on the bad throw, and he'll be safely running into second as Mr. McMartin runs over and picks up the wild throw.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. McMartin says there's a whole lot of green grass between first base and that fence down there.
It's not like Little League where it bounces off the fence and makes it halfway back. That thing goes to the fence. You're doing a 40-yard dash.
You have got to take off and get that thing, and if it's thrown from the third baseman, it could be down the right field line. And I remember the days of playing right field. You back up every one of those left side infield throws in case it's errant so that they don't get an extra base.
Absolutely. Now we have number 20, Mr. Morris, up with a little pop-up to Mr. Mahar from Garber at second. So we now have 1 out in the top of the 4th inning, and it currently is Bay City Central 3, Garber Dukes 0.
Like the idea of trying to push that ball to right field to get the runner to advance, just couldn't get it down on the ground. So 1 down, the runner still at second base.
And I can tell you, hitting the ball off the end of the bat in this weather,
ouch.
Beautiful feeling.
It is a tingly sensation, as they say.
As they say.
Yeah, we can laugh about it because we're up here. So
Right, where it is a lot warmer.
now in the top of the fourth inning, Brian, obviously your connection as the principal of the ISD. A lot of these kids playing are also opting for the ISD, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. It's nice to see all these young athletes. But, if you think about it, they're all student athletes first. And Wakeman and Mr. Harrell and Ethan Dufresne. And we can go on and on. Mr. Morris. As we go through this, I'll come up with about 4 or 5 more of these young men who are taking on the career center.
As the play to first base is late, and there's an errant throw, and this one could take him to third base.
This is going to take him to third base. This is what you were just talking about. That long throw.
Yep, that right fielder could not get there soon enough, and Bay City Central is flexing their muscles here, up 4-0 in the top of the fourth inning with only one out.
One out. But there's a lot of real estate over there. I'll tell you what, you could build many homes over in that little section there. You could have your own little subdivision.
Well, and I'll tell you, Central really, for the most part, this half inning especially, has not tattooed the ball. They've just been able to place it well, where the defense has had to hurry throws, and they've come up with a couple errant tosses, couple errors.
Yep. Right now, it looks like Garber Dukes have the infield in. They're playing for the runner at home with Spencer Malthrop at the plate, number 5. And we have Mr. Birdsall over on third.
Boy, Malthrop was frozen by that last curveball. Let's see. As this one comes just outside the plate and maybe a skosh high, it'll be 1 ball and 1 strike.
From up here, that left-handed Mr. Edelbrock looks like he's got a ball that's just got natural movement on it. It wasn't a curveball. It almost looks like a little bit of a right-handed slider.
A little slurve?
A little slurve. You see how it's going away from the batter when he's just with his natural motion from a left-handed pitcher? And that's got to be tough because you're looking at it going outside, and then if he throws a curveball inside.
And he tries to stay a little bit to the third side part of the rubber as that ball right down the middle. And I think Malthrop stood there as he was looking for a curveball, and he got the fastball and wasn't able to pull the trigger.
So now we've got a 2-2 count on Mr. Malthrop.
And a fastball right by him, and Malthrop strikes out. And that will allow the infield to be able to back up to normal distance.
Yep, and now we have number 9, Garrett Glish, junior from Bay City Central, who's stepping up with 2 outs and a young man on third. So see what Mr. Glish can do here.
Boy, and I'll tell you, when that infield backs up, too, you all often think that you can try and drop a bunt down to make something happen. As that one comes in, and boy, I'll tell you, Glish kind of had that front foot step out just a little bit. He goes, if that's a curveball and where it's at right now, that's going to be coming right in on my hands.
There it is.
A lazy fly ball to left field, just carries with the wind and up for the out number 3. And we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It's 4-0 Bay City Central over Garber. Back in a moment here on Bay County TV.
Ow, ow, ouch! My hip, my knee, my joints feel out of whack. Ow, ow, oh my! The pain, I can't take it anymore.
Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Todt and Brian Dufresne along with Hugh McMartin to lead off the bottom of the fourth for Garber. And Brian, the Garber Dukes, if they're going to get back in this game, need to start picking away right now.
I tell you, but never let the Garber Dukes down. I will tell you what, they can't come back, and you know what? It's not going to be over till the fat lady sings, so they say. And this Garber Duke team's got a lot of fight in them.
Well, I'll tell you, Chesla, through the first 3.5 innings of this ball game, has really thrown a gem.
Yes, he has. You know, and he's doing a great job, and he's got a great support cast behind him, doing very well, not making any errors and making the plays that need be. You know, Garber had a few miscues last inning, which cost him a run, but you know, they'll come back.
2 balls and no strikes. That one down in the dirt. So just as we talked about how efficient he'd been throwing, maybe I gave him the kiss of death on that he has 3 straight balls.
Yes, sir. See if you can bring one down the middle, right there. And I'll tell you what, knowing Grant McMartin, he was salivating on that, going, "Coach, please give me the hit sign." And of course, Coach Gismonka's not going to do that with a 0-3 count.
But he knew that he'd have another opportunity, and there is just a little lazy pop fly. But I'm going to tell you what, great room. Again, it's almost like the major leagues out in Oakland out there. There is just a multitude of space in foul territory to haul in that first out.
Now, speaking of space around here, you have to give a really good kudos to Garber Dukes and their facilities here. I believe they were the first ones in the county to have this stadium seating, and Mr. Grubsy Grobo, who was a young man who went to school here, and him and his buddies put it all together, and Mr. Harris when Bill Harris was coaching. So they have a great venue to watch a game. Very, very great venue.
Well, and others are taking suit. We're going to be excited in a couple of weeks to be up at Pinconning to see their new additions and the press box and the stadium seating that they've put in as well, and really does make it nice for the fans. As Maltrip tries to get that foul ball, he just runs out of real estate.
And there's a lot of real estate here. And he ran out of it. And that's Jared Harold. I tell you, Gerald's a big boy, big, strong young man. Again, Jared Harold's a young man who goes out to the Career Center, and he's in his second year in the criminal justice program.
That is another great program out there. And, you know, for people that aren't familiar with the ISD and all the programs that they have to offer, just starting with graphic design and nursing and auto mechanics and career for, you know, police, they've just got so many opportunities, and it's pretty jam-packed out there. They really maximize the number of people that they can get through those programs.
It's a great opportunity for kids in Bay and Aranac County. There's 25 different programs that the Career Center offers, and you know, they're all high-skilled and high-paying jobs, which these young kids can come out nowadays. Ooh. And Jared just got one right in the back between the 2 and the 1, and, you know, that hurt. But I'll tell you what, knowing Jared Harrell, didn't phase him.
You know, that's the kind of thing that when you go to roll out of the rack in the morning is when you feel that you go to push up to get out of bed, and you go, ooh, and that's I remember that one from last night.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Mr. Chesla.
And there was no place for him to get out of the way, too.
No.
That thing just ate him up on the inside. As Chesla now will pitch out of the stretch with 1 out. And a nice inside third pitch strike, as they are not giving the Garber Dukes the middle and the outside third of the plate. They're trying to really handcuff them to keep them from extending those arms and driving them one.
Yeah, and this is Wakeman Edelbrock. Hopefully Wakeman can do something to move the runner up to help himself. Wakeman came in last inning to pitch for Mr. Hugo.
Now he's trying to help himself offensively. That was a nice inning that he had defensively from the mound.
Uh-oh, that's going to be trouble. Trapped it. So there's going to be 1. Yep, that was a bounce.
Yep.
That was a good play by Mr. Glish. It was, you know, one of those plays, you don't know, come in, go out, what do? Make a choice, and he made a choice to trap it, and he got the lead runner at second. So good play by Mr. Glish at short.
The thing you've got to do at short is make that split-second decision, and what's imperative is that you keep it in front of you.
Yes. Yes, it's obviously the name of the game, and Mr. Glish is a great shortstop. He's got a lot of range, and he's played there quite a bit, so he's well accustomed to what happens at short. Ooh.
Kazmierski with a little tap back to the mound and a quick, easy toss to first base. And the Garber Dukes are dispatched again in the bottom of the 4th inning. We'll go to the top of the 5th. It's Bay City Central 4 and Garber nothing. Back in a moment on Bay County TV.
In 1916, Warren Miller chose Auto Owners Insurance for his new car. In 1947, his son made the same choice, as did his grandson in 1979. And today, his great-granddaughter did the same. As we reflect on where we've been, we're grateful to our independent agents and to those who put their trust in us, and to the generations who will. Auto Owners Insurance.
Plum Harris Insurance Agency in Bay City is your local independent auto owners insurance agency. Back for the top of the 5th. Bay City Central starts off with Hayden Jacek, and Hayden's been a busy man on the base path here in this doubleheader.
Absolutely. Hayden's been well known to put the bat on the ball and make things happen, and see what he can do here in the top of number 5 with Bay City Central leading the Garber Dukes at this point 4-2-0, and Wakeman Edelbrock is about ready to bring the pitch.
Comes from the outside, and Wakeman really likes to work that outside third, and that way when he throws the curveball or the slurve, whichever it is, it comes right in, and that will bounce on your fist. And there is a line drive by Jacek right back up through the box. And I'll tell you what, Wakeman kind of heard the seams on that thing whistle by the earlobe.
I am so happy he was athletic enough to get out of the way of that one, because that would have hurt. And, yep, Mr. Jacek hit a line shot directly back where the ball came. Now he's sitting on first, or standing on first, and brings up number 18, Brendan Galoner.
Now Galoner has an opportunity right now, and, you know, does he bunt? Do you try and go for that fifth? Does he try and give himself up, or is he just going to try and push one to the right side where there's a good-sized hole in the infield?
I can tell you right now, Brendan Galoner can definitely put the bat on the ball, and he can make that thing jump. So, you know, the way they look at center and right field are playing, if he hits it right center, it could make some things happen.
Yes, center fielder once again is shaded to left center as the throw goes back to first, and you better make certain when you're making that throw to first again that it's accurate, because otherwise you could be going from first to third as a base runner again.
It could be a track meet.
So Jacek gets a moderate lead at first base, and I'll tell you, just on the inside third of the plate again, as Galoner stood there and took a pitch that he wishes he had back.
Absolutely. And viewers at home, when you watch this, if you can see that from this left-handed pitcher, it is going inside to outside to right-handed batters. At least it looks like it from the box. So Wakeman's just definitely got some natural movement on the ball, which really, really makes batters struggle.
Really, timing is only half of the battle when that ball is dancing. You've got to be able to time it and square it up, and that's a tough combo when you've only got a nanosecond to make it happen.
To make the dance.
No balls and 2 strikes, nobody out. Top of the 5th. And batter is hit.
That's a pretty common occasion for that Mr. Galoner. Mr. Galoner, a tough kid. He's been hit quite a few different times this year, but Brendan is a kid who is obviously always for the team, and he takes one for the team right there. And now we've got runners on first and second with no outs, and we have Mr. Schumacher, who blew one out to over the center fielder's head last time at bat for a triple to bring in 3 runs.
That was in the 3rd inning as he comes up with an opportunity to create a little havoc once again. And he offered at it. The pitch was a ball, but offering at it, it is strike number 1 as he is willing to give himself up. And, boy, you know, it wasn't probably the greatest of technique that he's ever used before, because I know he's just chomping to swing the bat. And he does give himself up by making that first offering that he swings at to the right side to push that runner to third base. So now runner's on the corner with 1 out in the top of the 5th inning.
And that had to be a real quick play to get that runner at second. Mr. Galoner moving down there at a fairly good clip. Now we have, again, Schumacher at first, and we have Mr. Jacek sitting on third with Ethan Dufresne, number 2, up to bat with 1 out.
Well, defensively, it looks like the infield's kind of playing halfway where they'll be able to make a play at the plate if it's hard hitting right at him. Ethan with an opportunity to pad the lead, and he shows bunt. I think that was merely for show as the pitch was outside.
Absolutely. You know, you never know. There could be a suicide squeeze at this particular point. Coach Garcia loves to live life on the edge sometimes, and this would be a great opportunity.
And they did have the suicide going as Jacek was coming, and Ethan had an opportunity, and he was going to push that thing to first base. And as a first baseman, you really can't get a great jump when you're holding the runner on. You've got to stay there until the ball comes home. So that's obviously the direction that you're looking to bunt if you are going to get it down.
Absolutely.
We'll see with 1 ball and 1 strike what they decide to do. Ethan Dufresne with a little lazy pop fly into right field, and that is going to drop for a base hit. And it will score a run. It looks like a line drive in the book. It's seeing eye, but it gets the job done, and an RBI
right.
for Ethan Dufresne.
That was one of the laziest flops that ever come out there in right field, but you know what? Hit it down the line, very close to the line, and the right fielder was shading a little bit to center, and it dropped in for a big Texas League single.
Anthony Bernard up right now as we have got runners on first and second, 5-0 in the top of the fifth. Bay City Central on top over Garber.
That is going to be definitely in the gap, or it's going to drop. So Ethan Dufresne running to third and coming home for a play. Not a play at plate was Mason Schumacher. So Mr. Bernard had a nice shot to right center.
Well, and he did not wait for anything. The first thing that was close, he served it up into right center field, and we've got the timeout right now. It looks like we're going to have a little mound visit.
Coach Gismonka coming out to talk to Wakeman Edelbrock.
Looks like they're going to make a move.
So as they stand up on the mound having a conversation. I don't know, is there somebody warming up at the pen? Jared Harrell? Or is it Hayden LeBrun? It looks like they're bringing in number 9. Hayden LeBrun to continue inning number 5.
Bay City Central still with that scoring threat with only one out here in the top of the fifth, up 6-0 right now. And very impressive. Central puts a 6th spot on the board after scoring 5 in the first game. But even more impressive is the fact that they have been able to keep that goose egg on the board through the first 4 innings for the Garber Dukes.
Yes, Mr. Cheslo's putting on quite a good performance on the mound, but again, there are 7 or 8 different, actually 7 behind him, 1 in front of him. They're the catcher that are doing a great job for Bay City Central, not making any errors and making the plays that need to be played. And again, Mr. Chesla is doing a great job throwing for Bay City Central in the second game.
As the normal, when a pitcher comes in, he'll probably take 7 to 10 pitches, depending on how much time he's had to warm up and get the feel for the mound, as you throw sometimes on the sideline, and if there is a mound there, it's not always the same size, so you want to get a feel for your landing point and trying to get that curveball working again, and that's one of the things you try and do, and warm those hands up so you can get the proper grip.
Especially when the team's got a little bit of momentum going. Take your time, break the momentum, and see what you can start for yourself coming in now. We have Hayden LeBrun, I'm sorry. Hayden LeBrun going to be up there right now. Mr. Kazmersky, number 2, the catcher.
I like the fact that Kazmersky goes out and he wants to let his pitcher just coming into the game know all the situations that are going on, one out, where the runners are at and what's up, so that as he pitches, he is totally tuned into what's going on.
Absolutely. The catcher is the quarterback on the field for baseball. And they're going for him. Ooh, a little cutoff short. Nice design play by Essexville Garber when the young man, Mr. Schumacher, takes off going to second. Design play to hit the young man, Mr. Mahar, at second to entice the third baseman Dufresne to run home, which they all held.
And
there.
The infield pulled in is giving them another opportunity. And the play at the plate will not be a play at the plate, but when you miss the cutoff, man, your trail runner with a heads-up move will take the extra base. That takes the force and the double play out of play.
That's right. Morris, nice hit, solid hit, just over the outreach of the shortstop there, Mr. Jacek for Garber. Just over the reach of him, and now Mr. Morris is going to be pinch ran for by the young men heading out to second.
It's now 7-0. Bay City Central on top over the Garber Dukes in the top of the fifth inning. And
Nick Birdsall steps into the plate and digs in.
Nick has had an opportunity to scant himself around the bases. And I'll tell you, he stayed in very, very nicely. That one is served up into right field, and another seeing eye base hit. Another Bay City Central run score. Runners advance as well. And Bay City Central can do no wrong in this game.
And I tell you what, that right fielder, no fault to him. They're just dropping the balls into spots where he can't get to. He came in charging extremely hard. And that was just like the identical shot that Ethan Dufresne hit out in right field. A couple feet off the line in short where first baseman can't get back, and your right fielder just doesn't have enough time to get there.
And again, you look defensively, and they're in on the corners and playing hopefully at double play depth, hoping that they can get a ground ball to get out of this inning. Bay City Central says we're not done yet.
Ooh, now we have Mr. Malthrop, Spencer Malthrop at the plate. And Spencer, a tough kid, took that one real close to the chin, a little closer than I would have liked.
Not by the hairs on that chinny chin, as now they go to the outside. Great job also by Spencer, because he tells his runner at third base, nope, catcher caught that clean, stay home. I want to try and drive you in. I don't want you to get caught on your way to the plate here on a pass ball. As that one is a little bit high. And again, on those pitches that are a little bit high, as a catcher, you've got to stay down as much as you can, because you stand up, what do you do to the view of the umpire?
Yep, you block that view, and you definitely skew it, and he's not going to be able to call it. And he called that one a nice strike. Looks like it was right down the center, so we got a, 3-1 count now?
Still with runners on first and third with one out. And to the outside, as Malthrop will get a free pass. Loading the bases, infield fly rule is once again in effect.
Over the hand, over the heart. And we have our buddy up here, Mr. Glish, Mr. Garrett Glish, number 9, the shortstop for Bay City Central, who's coming to the plate with one out and bases are loaded.
Boy, you got to love this as a hitter. Right up the middle, and that's a tailor-made double play ball as the one hop to the shortstop, 2 steps to his right, flips to first, gets the double play. Garber gets out of the potential for further damage, Brian, but they are spotting the Bay City Central Wolves 8 runs here going into the bottom of the 5th.
You can say they're spotting Bay City Central 8, but I tell you right now, this Essexville Garber team, they've got quite the kids who definitely have some bats that can definitely do some damage. So I, again, would not count the Garber Dukes out until it's over, but Mr. Chesla is doing a great job. Continue to pitch, and he's coming back in for bottom of inning number 5.
Yes, indeed, and he has thrown a gem, and he hasn't had to really expend a lot of energy and throw a lot of pitches, so he has an opportunity to finish what he started.
He has had quite a few, or not quite a few, but a couple innings where he's maybe thrown less than 10 pitches, and obviously that you have to commend his defense behind him for not making any errors and making the plays that as a varsity baseball player should at this level. You're expected to make those plays.
And when you have got a situation right now where you're down 8, if you're Garber, you're hoping that you can get 2 or 3 back to sitting. Obviously, you'd like a bunch, but you just need to get that momentum going and get a couple of runs on the board to give something to work with.
Yes, sir. You still have 3 at-bats. You have bottom 5, 6, and 7. So, I doubt that you'll get them all in one big fell swoop, but start chiseling away at it and see what you can do. And again, bring the game back to make it competitive.
And this half inning sponsored by Plum Harris Insurance, as they're normally our halftime sponsor, but we'll call this the halftime of the ball game.
This is the halftime. Our good friend Stevie Walter.
Steve has been a long-time great supporter of Bay County Athletics, and we couldn't be happier to have Plum Harris Insurance on board with us as we go to the bottom of the 5th.
And I'd like to give a big shout-out to my agent over at Plum Harris, Rochelle. She takes good care of me, and plus she gets tired of hearing me call because, every once in a while you got to check your insurance, and she's a great lady, and Steve Walter too, so thank you, Plum Harris, for sponsoring.
As we go to the bottom of the 5th, just a little bit low as the Garber Dukes want to make things happen right now. And there is just a little bloop that will end up being a single. There's really not much that they can do that deep in the hole. And a couple of Central hits we're seeing high, and they return the favor with one of their own.
Tick for tack. That was number 3, Ben Conley. He obviously has been subbed into the game. So Ben, obviously, little Texas blooper over the third baseman, and a play made by Glish to keep him from going to second.
Spencer Maher now with an opportunity to see what they can do, and that pitch just a little bit high. And Garber doing what they need to do and getting that leadoff batter on.
I'm going to tell you, watch number 20 Morris here, because if you're off too far at first, he will throw it down there. He does not fear it. So I would definitely think that Morris would probably make that throw if Mr. Conley steps off a little too close for his liking.
As a Schumacher with a nice foul ball catch. Nice to see that he took charge right away and called everybody off. Pulls it in. The pitcher goes over to cover first base just to make sure that they don't take off and try and scoot for second. Jacek, the batter now, has that ball right on the outside painted black portion. What a great first pitch. As it's strike one, an off-speed pitch, doing a nice job. Jacek just sat back on it and served it up into left field.
Nice hit, nice at bat for Mr. Jacek.
And at that point, 2 runners on, 1 down. Let's see what Garber Dukes can do next.
We got Charlie Newton, number 4, the center fielder. Again, Charlie Newton, a very dangerous batter, explosive hitter, and if he can get the bat on it, Charlie can definitely make some things happen for the Garber Dukes right now.
Bay City Central defensively as Newton swings and misses at the first pitch. And the second base runner really didn't get a good look at where that ball went, and you must be 100% certain you can get to third base. You do not want to get thrown out and pull yourself out of an inning.
Not being that short. You're not running to second where the distance of the throw from the catcher makes a difference, but I'll tell you what, running the third, that's a short throw for a catcher. You better have a great jump or some Ricky Henderson-like speed.
Yes, or both.
Yes, exactly.
1 ball and 1 strike in the bottom of the 5th. 1 out, 2 runners on for the Garber Dukes. Nice change of pace again. Just takes a little bit off of that pitch, and the Garber Dukes number 4, Charlie Newton, thought that one may have just been a touch on the outside. But you got to get the bat on the ball if that thing's around the plate. Another off-speed delivery, and Charlie Newton strikes out. What a great job that time by Bay City Central's pitcher, as Seth Chesla does a superb job of carving up Newton.
Now we have the big boy up, the big freshman, number 7, Logan Hugo, playing left field right now. Again, game number 1, Logan went yard on Bay City Central, so again, he is potential at any time.
As that ball is to the outside, both runners will advance. Not quite as big a deal with 2 outs now because the play of force at first base is still in effect, but now a base hit potentially can bring home 2.
Definitely 2, and I'll tell you what, those 2 is what Garber would need if they're going to start chiseling away at that lead. After this inning, they'll have 2 more at-bats, and 2 would be good.
And if you look way, way out in center field, Brian, you'll see that they are playing Hugo very, very deep as that ball comes to the backstop again. And that will be the first run of the game for the Garber Dukes. But Bay City Central in left field and center field are not going to allow Hugo to put one over their head unless it goes out of the field.
No, that's definitely a sign of respect. So you step back and make sure that you only have a little bit further to go back, and Mr. Hugo can definitely do it, and you want to keep the ball in front of you.
2 balls and no strikes. Chesla now out of the stretch. And that ball to left field. And Maltrip wasn't certain he could get to that, so you play it safe and you let that ball drop in front. And there's what we talked about before the inning started. Get yourself 2 or 3 runs and get yourself feeling good about trying to get back into this game. And they've got a hitter right now that's very dangerous up to the plate.
Oh, yeah, Grant McMartin. Grant McMartin has been known throughout Little League, Colt League, Pony League, to be able to put the bat on the ball, which he just did. Nice shot out to right field from a left-handed batter. pulls it right down to the right side of to the left side of the second baseman Hayden Yachek, but nice wrap by Grant McMartin.
So now what we're going to have to watch is if another batter for Garber is successful, I think you're at least going to get a visit from Coach Garcia to the mound to either calm him down, to settle him down a little bit, to find out if he might be starting to get a little fatigued, if they need to think about making a change.
And currently I do not see anybody out in the bullpen for Bay City Central, so obviously at this point they're feeling confident to continue to go with Mr. Chesla. So right now with a score of 8-2 and bottom of number 5 with 2 outs. We have nobody warming up in the bullpen for Bay City Central.
Chesla tries to snap another one off and very, very nearly clips Jared Harrell.
I'll tell you, Gerald, again, solid kid who will sit in there, and if it comes at him, he's going to turn and do what he needs to do and take the ball off the back and go to first base. Take
2
one for the
balls
team.
And no strikes. Just inside 3-0. And Chesla right now is not being able to zone in on the strike zone, which he has certainly had great command of that strike zone previous to now.
Yeah, absolutely. They always say that last out in the inning is the hardest one to get. You got 2, now you just got to get that other 1, and sometimes it seems like the 1 out just keeps eluding you and you can't get it.
And again, Coach Garcia is going to continue to show that confidence in the senior Chesla to make it happen. And LeBrun coming up to bat right now for the Garber Dukes. And an extra base hit could turn that to an 8-5 game in a big hurry.
Yep, and Hayden now being the pitcher, this would be a nice help for him. If he could get the bat on the ball and get a couple runs in, since he is now brought in as the pitcher, so this would be a nice help for him and the cause.
Again, Garber showing great patience at the plate right now as Chesla's having trouble zeroing in on that zone. And again, just a little bit low. And we will have a mound visit as the catcher going out. Jacob Morse is just going to talk to him and calm him down for a minute. And say,
knowing Hayden LeBrun, he's such a disciplined ball player that doesn't matter if Coach gave him the green light or not, he would probably sit back and just watch because he knows the odds are with him, and Hayden's a good study of the game, and there's no question he was fully taken on that pitch.
Andrew Kazmierski is the batter now. 8-3 our ball game. And that one on the inside third. Kazmierski is going to make Chesla throw some strikes, and now 0-1 right now with 2 down. The base is still full for the Garber Dukes. Oh, my, just missed. I don't know where because that looked like a pretty good pitch.
Yep.
1 ball and 1 strike.
And Mr. Kazmierski being the catcher for the Garber Dukes, he has a good idea where strikes and balls are going to be caught, so that he's going to use that to his advantage. All right.
Ball down there as they'll go to second base to Hayden Yachek to get the last out of the inning. Difference, I think, in the strike zone was Chesla went back to the windup with the bases loaded and 2 outs to pick up that 3rd out. We'll take a break. We'll go to the top of the 6th. It's Central 8 and Garber 3 right here on Bay County TV.
I thought I'd lost my business in that fire, but my agent was there before the flames were out. He said, together, we're going to rebuild. We've got 25 employees who depended on it, and that's all that mattered to me. My independent agent and auto owners made sure we didn't skip a beat. I mean, we didn't miss a single payroll. Incredible.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there. Auto Owners Insurance.
Plum Harris Insurance Agency in Bay City is your local independent auto owners insurance agency. All right, back here at Bay County TV, Jeff Toad and Brian Dufresne along with you. Go to the top of the 6th. Hayden Yachek to lead things off for the Bay City Central Wolves. Garber Dukes did exactly what they need to do to have an opportunity to get back in this game, scoring 3 in the bottom of the 5th.
Absolutely, Mr. Jones. And it is a pleasure to be here with you today at Garber Dukes baseball field to broadcast this game. Obviously, it was never on my calendar until about 6 minutes before game time.
Well, I actually saw you outside with your teeth clattering together, and I heard you before I saw you, and I said, I got to rescue this guy and bring him up here in the box so that he can warm up and share some of his baseball expertise at the same time.
Okay, so if you think Mr. Guizel owes me, I owe you.
Well, we'll all go to dinner together.
Absolutely.
Yachek with a shot to second base. Nice backhanded play by the second baseman and a quick flip to first base for out number 1 of the 6th inning.
Now it looks like we have Luke Garcia coming up, obviously DHing for somebody in the lineup here today. So it looks like Luke Garcia is going to be filling in for, who do we have in the...
Next up for the Wolves, number 11, Luke Garcia.
Who's he DHing for?
As the first pitch is a strike. Gloner.
Looks like, yep, he's DHing for the DH.
Aha. So pinch hit for the DH. And there is another nice pitch, 0-2. And Lucas says, that's just not fair to be putting me down 0-2. I'm just coming in to see if I can make some contact here and have some fun.
Right.
And an inside third pitch, a perfect pitcher's pitch. 3 pitches and 1 down in the top of the 6th inning.
I tell you, the Hayden LeBron definitely has that curveball flying in right now, so he's got the control of that, so it could make a very interesting last 2 innings here. So we're 3-8, and Central's up at this point. And we have Mason Schumacher, first baseman, stepping into the plate, and the first pitch is a strike.
Boy, painting the outside corner on that first pitch, and he's really doing a nice job of moving it inside, moving it out. This next pitch is low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, there are 2 down in the top of the 6th inning. Central +5 in this one. Has a nice little ground ball and a nice concentration. Good scoop by the second baseman. 3 up, 3 down. Nobody left on base at the end of 5 1/2. It is 8-3. Back in a moment on Bay County TV.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Back on Bay County TV, Ben Conley set to go here in the bottom of the 6th. Jeff Doan and Brian Dufresne along with you as the Garber Dukes were able to scratch and claw and get 3 in that last bottom of their 5th inning. See if they can add to it or Central can shut the door.
They're definitely going to make it a ball game at this point. It's obviously a lot more interesting with your 3-8 as opposed to 8-0. So Mr. Conley's going to step right up, and I think he started that last inning with a little bit of a hit there to get the Dukes rolling.
I think he started that with a little seeing eye hit as he takes in 1-1.
That's right, down the right field line.
I think you are going to see the Garber Dukes taking that first strike the rest of the game, trying to get deep into the count and try and see if they can get the Central defense to have to play just way out in front of an off-speed pitch, and he about put that on the football field.
I tell you, he was a little anxious on that one, and obviously it was a nice swing and nice cut by Mr. Ben Conley, who's the right fielder right now, and if he straightens that out, that could be some trouble because it looks like the infield or the outfielders are a little in for my liking.
As they are playing medium depth, just missing 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Garber trying to mount a comeback, finding themselves down 5 runs. Count is full.
As you said, they're going to sit there and watch those pitches, make the pitcher pitch. And Mr. Chesla has, obviously, this is his 6th inning, so he's been running the whole game. And, you got to get a little tired out there, and it's cold. And
trying to stay warm and keep everything working, keep your hands in good shape. And there's a ball slapped down the left field line. He's fouled by about 15 feet. And at that point, 3-2, Chesla has just got to serve it up on a platter. You cannot give out free passes right now. You must make their Garber Dukes earn their way onto the base path.
Absolutely. You got 7 guys behind you, so let's make it happen.
Just a little bit high. as the leadoff hitter, just like the last rally started, as you just mentioned, Brian.
Number 6.
Now we have varsity coach Gib Garcia making his way out to the mound to have a conversation with Mr. Chesla. I'm not quite sure.
They're going to make a move.
They're going to make a move. It looks like Mason Schumacher, the first baseman, who's going to come in and hopefully make some close this out and make the Garber Dukes work for it.
We'll take a quick break and be back after this on Bay County TV.
Where did this rash come from? Hold on, let me see. Could be bed bugs. Oh. Mom, Grant says I have bed bugs.
Let's see what the doctor says.
Introducing Covenant Virtual Care. Real-time video doctor visits, e-prescriptions, and follow-up. Now extraordinary care comes to you.
See, it's just poison ivy. Smart advanced.
Learn more at covenantvirtualcare.com.
Welcome back. As Central makes a pitching change, Brian, let us know what's up with that.
Well, we're bringing in number 8, Mr. Schumacher, coming from first base. Mr. Schumacher, a nice-sized right-handed pitcher who can definitely bring some heat, and one of the regulars on Bay City Central staff for sure.
Mason is only a junior, and that first pitch just inside, and he has no lack of confidence in the speed of his fastball and the control of it.
No, he's just going to rear back, and if you know Mason, Mason's going to rear back and fire it.
Perfectly positioned play to the right fielder. Just takes a couple of lazy steps towards the line, picks off the soft liner, and that will be the first out of the inning as Parker Yachek will be next.
Again, that first out and that last out are the tough ones to get, so Mr. Schumacher comes in and throws them right down the middle, and again, you got the guys behind you, let them do what they got to do.
Boy, you can really hear the snap on that catcher's mitt. Little difference in the velocity from Chesla to Shu.
Yeah. Not quite sure I'd want to be the catcher right now. As your hands go that snap, you better have a little pad in there.
There's a couple of pitches, and Shu's getting a little bit high on his release point, and that ball's not coming down. 2 balls and no strikes right now. Great hitters count for the Garber Dukes.
And just a little point of interest that Bay City Central, with Mason coming to the mound, then they put in Lucas Garcia, is now the new first baseman for Bay City Central. And we want to give Mr. Chesla a great job for your pitching performance here today.
Just inside 3 balls and 1 strike. Parker Yachek finds himself in another hitter-friendly count here with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th.
I'm not quite sure you want to put Parker in that situation because he can make you pay for it. He's definitely a good hitter. There it is. That's going to drop, I'm telling you right now. Right center, 1 hop off the fence by Mr. Yachek. Is he going for 3? He is not. No.
Nope, they had to hold that runner up at third, and you want to be certain again that runner is going to score. You do not want to shorten your inning by having somebody thrown out at the plate. But I'll tell you what, a great hitter's count, and Parker did not miss the fastball.
As I was saying, Parker Yachek's definitely. There's another one. Mr. Charlie Newton. Charlie's due for the day. He struck out on his last at-bat swinging, but I tell you, Charlie is ready for the challenge with Mr. Schumacher.
And I'm sure they've seen each other a time or two over time as that ball goes down the line. And the throw to first is errant, and that is going to potentially score 1 run. They have holed up the runner on third, and with only 1 out, the Garber Dukes are just inching their way back into the ball game.
Tell you,
it's 8-4.
As I said earlier, never count them out. 8-4, bottom 6. Schumacher is in, and you know what? Schumacher has some velocity on there, but I tell you, good hitters love to hit fast pitchers.
As the Garber Dukes up to bat, Logan Hugo, 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 down. And Hugo with the fly ball, and that thing is well tagged. Back, and that is a 3-run home run. And that is going to tie up the score at 8-8. Or excuse me, that makes it 8-7. Excuse me, my math is bad. It was just 8-4. Now it's 8-7. as he got that thing up in the jet stream, Brian, and that thing just carried. Center fielder took 2 steps in, didn't really think it was hit that far, and then he went back and ran out of real estate.
For the initial,
Next up for the Dukes, number 40, the first
the initial thought was it was just a routine fly ball to left center field, and then watching Nick Birdsall turn and burn back, she had the opportunity to go out. And again, that's the second home run for Mr. Hugo today, and he definitely brought Garber back now 7-8, and we still only have 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. And Mr. Schumacher is throwing some heat. As I said earlier, you throw the heat, the good batters love them heat.
They time that heat, and they can go with it, as he maybe tried to overthrow that first offering. As the Garber Dukes found themselves right back in this game, Mick Barton finding himself 1-0 count.
It looks like Mr. Schumacher's trying to overthrow himself right now. Just sit back, relax, Mason, and make it happen. But you have number 40 up here, Grant McMartin. Grant is definitely another kid that could put a charge into a ball.
As that ball right on the outside corner, a great pitcher's pitch on a 2-0 count. 2 balls and 1 strike right now. McMartin looking to put some contact on the ball. A little bit low, good patience, and a good eye at the plate. 3-1, another great hitter's count.
I'm going to tell you, knowing Grant McMartin, unless it's set up on a platter for him, he's a very disciplined young man, and he'll probably watch it unless it's right there down the center, which it was.
Just a little tardy on that swing. Count is full right now with 1 out. And again, with 3 runs in the 5th and 4 more here in the 6th, the Garber Dukes are down only 1 run here with 5 outs remaining for them in this ball game.
I'm not quite sure if somebody said earlier in the broadcast if never count the Dukes out because they have some bats that can come alive. I'm not quite sure if we heard that.
See if we can rewind some of the footage and see if we can pick out who may have said that.
Have our statistician Nick downstairs do some research for us, right?
That's the beauty of ball, and we talked about rallies and how they could come. Martin strikes out for out number 2, and he thinks he may have offered at ball number 4.
Yes. That was a tough at bat for Grant, and did a great job, and Mason got that out. That's the out you're looking for. Now you got 2 outs, and we have Jared Harrell up. And again, the batting lineup for Essexville Garber does not get any easier as you go down. It gets tougher. I mean, you have a guy like Jared Harrell now coming to bat. There is no easing up.
There's no weak links in this batting order for sure, and they have shown in the last 2 innings how to make that happen. And again, Shu goes 2-0 on the batter again, as Garber has shown great patience at the plate here, forcing Central to throw strikes.
Yes, sir. Right now, Mason Schumacher hopefully can take control right here and bring it down the center, and looks like he threw another ball, but Mason's a very experienced pitcher, and he'll come back and make Mr. Harrell hit the ball, we hope, not give him a free pass. No free passes, no free soup today.
3-0, he's low and inside, ball 4, so the potential game-tying run is on first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
And the pitcher comes up. Hayden LeBrun, the pitcher, comes up to hopefully help his cause, and tying run on first, winning at the plate with 2 outs in bottom of the 6th inning. Bay City Central 8, Garber Dukes 7.
Just on the outside corner, a beautiful pitch from Shu.
That's one, as a batter, the first pitch, you're going to sit there and watch that one go because that was questionable. You're going to sit back and watch it.
Again, Mason Schumacher, the junior. 0-1 is the count. And a little bit late on the foul ball again, as it's no balls and 2 strikes, the count. Umpire says, I'll go back and get this one. I like to move around a little bit myself to stay warm and stay loose.
You think, right? Yep. Tells you what kind of day it is out here when the umpire's retrieving balls.
Yes, indeed. They like to stay moving, too. So you're in a situation now, 0-2, as Schumacher was taking a nice long look, and that is strike number 3. So the damage is ended for the half inning. It's 8-7 after 7 runs in the last 2 innings. We'll go to the 7th inning and be back for all of that game action in just a moment on Bay County TV. AAA Transport and Limousine is the Great Lakes Bay region's most reliable and requested service. We provide many types of transportation services, from non-emergency medical, wheelchair accessible, school transport services, and shuttle services. Our company strives to provide exceptional service to our customers. Our services are tailored to each person or company's specific needs. For the last 10 years, we have pushed the mark higher and higher to give the best service possible. Rest assured that you are in safe hands when you ride with AAA Transport and Limousine. Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Toad and Brian Dufresne. Bay City Central finds themselves just very precariously up only by one. Ethan Dufresne, the first hitter, is going to try and do something to help stretch that lead back up for Bay City Central.
Absolutely. Hayden LeBron ready to deliver the first pitch for the top of the 7th inning.
As Dufresne has a lazy little popper into the infield and just dipped a little bit on it for a quick out number 1 for Bay City Central in the top of the 7th.
Yes. Now that's 1 pitch, 1 out for Mr. LeBron. So now we have number 13. We have definitely Mr. Bernard, Anthony Bernard, coming up. Anthony Bernard, third baseman, has been playing a very stellar game, and hopefully he can put the bat on the ball.
As again, another nice off-speed delivery with movement.
He's throwing that curve. Mr. LeBron's definitely has control over his curve. Seems like his favorite pitch right now, and he's definitely going to throw it. And he has to understand he's got people behind him.
Well, and once you get a feel for that pitch, it's nice that you can get the grip in the cold weather and throw it, and it's very tough for the hitter to pick up on it.
And pick your spot, especially we're starting to get a little dark here. And
that's too funny that you say that, because just this last second I looked at the outfield and I said it's starting to get a little dusky out there. But fortunately we're in the 7th inning, and we're going to get this 7th inning in, we think.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to now because we started. You're going to get it in. So, and the balls, obviously with the dirt on them, and it's tough to see as a batter trying to pick up that curve that's coming in. And you have literally a split second to make a decision. And Hayden LeBron's definitely putting some heat on it.
As it's served up into right field. Very nice base hit that time for Anthony Bernard. As Bay City Central gets a runner on with 1 out in the 7th.
The catcher, number 20, Jacob Morse.
All right, so obviously with those curved balls, he took it to where it was going, curving to the right side of the plate, took it to right field. Now we have number 20, Jacob Morse, the catcher, up, 1 out. Top of 7 to 8 in favor of Bay City Central Wolves at this particular moment.
As that ball just a little bit high and tight. Nice job holding off of not swinging. It's 1-0.
He looked like the dog that wanted the bone on that one, didn't he?
He was looking for something out over the plate that he could really get a good whack at. Had a nice pitch to hit and just missed it, fouling it off. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike for Jacob Morse.
Jacob, again, a junior catcher. And we have Mr. Bernard leading off a little bit too much for Mr. LeBron's liking over on first base. So Mr. LeBron gives him a little look and says, hey, I know you're there.
Not really a big lead, so it's something as a pitcher, you just want to glance over there. If they don't have a big lead, you want to focus on the batter at hand.
Yep, absolutely. Right now, it's all about the outs. Get the outs. That runner on first base means nothing. You have to get the batter here and continue on.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and 1 out. The top of the 7th. Bay City Central holding on to that slim 1-run lead. Just a little bit high and wide, 2-2. That's a purpose pitch in the spot that he was hoping that Morse would go for a little fish.
Yeah, just trying to entice him a little bit high.
He said it's Friday night. Why wouldn't we try for a little fish?
Right, except for it's not Lent. Oh, pass ball. Gets by Kazmersky and then puts Bernard down to second. So now we have Morris up with a 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out in the top of the 7th with the opportunity to make a run or score a run in.
As the count is full for Morse right now, he'll have the opportunity to see this 3-2 offering. And that thing is skewed into right field. A nice play by the right fielder to come up with the ball. Very alertly tagging and going to third, the Bay City Central Wolves.
So, again, the idea of Hayden LeBron, the pitcher, is get that out. Now you have 2 outs. And, again, the runner doesn't mean anything right now. You want to get that out. and get to the bottom of the 7th and bring the Garber Dukes back in with their explosive bats to come back and hopefully pick up 2 runs to win the thing.
But you have to make certain, as a pitcher, you are not going to see the amount of curveballs with the runner on third base. They cannot afford a pass ball, so I think you're going to see a steady diet of fastballs.
Absolutely. And number 2, Mr. Kazimierski, he's a very good catcher, so in my situation, or in this situation, I know Mr. Kazimierski will give up the body for the ball, and he'll put his body in front of it to do the best he can do to block it, but sometimes that ball just jumps.
It takes some funny hops, even though the ball is round. And another high pitch. And see, when you're relying on that curveball, and then you have to go to the fastball to keep that ball from going as a pass ball, it's a little different feel for your toss and a little different landing point. 2-1 right now, a good hitter's count for Central. Herzl has a pitch that he's a little tardy on, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. As they just have brought in a couple of new baseballs right now, and they're trying to scuff them up a little bit to get a little better feel for them.
Yeah, you'd like the balls to be a little bit brighter right now, but as a catcher, you don't want the batter to see that.
Well, and you want the pitcher, it's scuffed up a little bit. He seems to get a little better feel for it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's one up the middle, and that is going to drop. And that was the first curveball sequence that we'd seen for this batter. Birdsell was sitting waiting for it and hit a nice line drive to center for a very big run for the Bay City Central Wolves.
Gives them a 2-run cushion going into the bottom of the 7th. With still have one out. Then again, that scored Mr. Anthony Bernard, and Charlie Newton was caught in between a rock and a hard spot. Come in charging. Does it go by me? What do I do? And Charlie, with his senior experience, keeps the ball in front of him. What?
Right down the pipe with that first one. Spencer Maltrip showed bunt but pulled back on it. I think Spencer at this point is going to be looking to see if he can hit a gap. Outfield is actually playing pretty shallow right now on him. As he pops one up, and in all likelihood that should end the half inning. And going to the bottom of the 7th inning, it's 9-7, Central up by 2. Garber with their final 3 outs of regulation. We'll be back to see how it all shakes up on BCTV.
Over the years, he's put his heart into being your dad. He was always there to fix things. Now that he needs help, don't lose hope. Covenant Center for the Heart is leading the way in minimally invasive heart options for inoperable or high-risk patients, with the first and most comprehensive structural heart disease program in the Great Lakes Bay region. It's extraordinary heart care, close to home.
Here we are, the bottom of the 7th inning. The Garber Dukes need 2 to remain even in this game and 3 to win it. As Jeff Doan and Brian Dufresne along with you, Schumacher on the mound. And he tried to throw some curveballs as he warmed up, but he realized he's got to stay with his bread and butter, and that is the heater.
Bringing the heat, and that was a little bit outside.
As that shot takes a nice hop if you're a Garber Duke, and Bay City Central says that one was an unfair hop. That's the kind of hop that almost hits a footprint as it's on the baseline and goes from a routine grounder to falling up over the shoulder.
Definitely. And Andrew definitely put some heat on that ball, and so good job by Andrew Kazimierski to lead off the Garber Dukes in the bottom of the 7th with a single.
Conley looks like the batter now.
Ben led off both innings last time and for the Garber Dukes when they got to 3 and the 4. So see if Ben can get back on base and hopefully keep the things rolling for the Garber Dukes at this particular moment. And as we think about it, this particular moment, this is it. There's no tomorrow after this inning.
Well, and Conley takes a strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. After this batter, you're turning over the top of your lineup again, too, which is pretty good news for the Garber Dukes to start the 7th inning.
Absolutely. Again, the Garber Dukes have, as Bay City Central, they have a power in their lineup all the way through. So when you're getting up into the 1, 2, 3, 4, you're definitely going to be needing some help. And
foul ball with Conley, and you don't have to worry about that going out of play as much as you can, just the long run that you got to try and get to that spot.
Right. Long enough where if you don't hustle your butt off, coach is going to yell at you.
He's like, Coach, I knew that thing wasn't going over the fence, but there's no way I was going to get to it.
Mm-mm. But if you didn't make an effort, you could be sitting on the bench watching from the outside in.
That could be a sliver picker.
Mm-hmm.
As it tried to go a little bit off speed, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just doesn't have a feel for that secondary pitch,
Right.
at least so far tonight.
Just got to find his right release point and hopefully bring it down a little bit. And Ben Conley is standing in the plate, ready to take it on bat at it.
At 2-2, he's going to see a heater. And we are going to. And see, I had to wait for that from the official because I thought I heard aluminum. I thought that I heard that potential as he went to get out of the way, did that hit the end of the bat or the handle of the bat? And that's what I thought that they were potentially going to check on, but there is no question from the Coach Garcia and the central bench. And what a huge play it was after Schumacher seemed to have Conley in his grips.
Yep. Now we have number 6, Mr. Maher coming up, who is the leadoff batter. So we're at number 1 in the order, and definitely Spencer Maher can be a deadly situation here for the Garber Dukes. But we do have a definite double play in order and any bag for an out. So again, Mason's just got to throw strikes and get that first out.
Here we go. Schumacher gets the sign from the set position. Just missing on the inside as Maher had a good eye.
Yeah, I would say just.
That had to have been maybe a hair or 2. As Maher puts himself into a good position at 1-0. I think Schumacher's going to come with a nice steady diet of fastballs. And that ball flipped through. Nice plays. They're going to go to second base, and Jacek with a nice job of pulling that ball in.
I'll tell you, Mr. Glish, great range to his right to make that play, because otherwise then you still have bases loaded, no outs. Now you have 1 out, so now you can work.
If you don't go down to your knee to get that, to change your position, trying to stay up, then you're going to have to throw away from it. He allowed himself to circle the ball and make a nice strong throw to Jacek for a very big out because the double play is still in effect, and that runner at third base is not the tying run.
Definitely. Now we have number 14, Mr. Jacek, up for the Garber Dukes with 1 out, bottom of the 7th. And Mason Schumacher posed the old-fashioned, let's go to third, and maybe I can get him sneaking off first, being a little bit of lazy, but the well-coached Garber Dukes team is not going to fall for that.
That very seldom works, but you only need it to work once in a while for it to continue to be successful. And I'll tell you, Jacek did a nice job of convincing the umpire by bailing that ball was inside, but that was a very close pitch again, as it's 1 ball and no strikes. Runners on first and third, just inside again. And I know what they're doing. They're just trying to crowd him right now. They're trying to get something off of his fist that could elicit that ground ball for a potential game-ending double play for Central. The Garber Dukes got the rally caps on. Can they finish? As that ball just a little bit low.
Now you
3
remember,
balls.
Yep. Now we're at number 2 in the batting order. So remember, you have Logan Hugo coming up if he gets to the plate. And last time I remember he got up, he put one over.
He charged one.
Yeah. Again, the old-fashioned, let me go to third, see if you're sleeping at first. Not successful.
It's only fun when that happens if 10 or 15 people in the stands yell, "Bog, bog!"
Mm-hmm.
And there's ball number 4.
Okay. Now it's getting a little exciting, isn't it?
For the Dukes, the center fielder number 4, Charlie.
And I'm telling you what, Charlie Newton, if you know who Charlie Newton is, he is one super kid who he's about due, which is kind of scary if you're a Bay City Central Bull fan, but if you're a Garber Duke fan, you're excited because Charlie Newton is a solid athlete and a solid kid coming up to the plate with bases loaded.
And 1 down.
Bottom of the 7th, down by 2. There's not many kids that you would really love to have in that situation, but I'll tell you right now, Charlie Newton, put him there every time and any time.
And that's exactly where Garber wants to be in this situation. You're now looking at 3, 4, and 5 in their lineup coming up, and that's enough to scare the bejeebies out of some people.
Yeah. No matter who you are, 3, 4, and 5 for Garber Duke's going to be there. But we have Mason Schumacher on the mound, and Mason's going to be up for the challenge to hopefully throw some down the middle and see what his people behind him can do. Still a little high.
That release point just not really getting back behind that ball coming over the top.
I can definitely hear the crowd livening up out there.
They've got reason to get excited as Bay City Central spotted Garber an 8. As that thing kind of skewed off from Charlie. As evening the count at 1-1 strike here again. 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. This may be our last inning, too. We're starting to run into dusk.
It is the last inning. They only go 7.
I'm saying even if they tie it, I'm not certain that they'll be able to get another inning in. So we'll have to see. Wow, he throws that curve ball, and he absolutely froze Newton. That was the pitch of the ball game right now
beautiful
for
pitch.
Schumacher.
Now he's got a 1-2 count.
He's going to throw the same pitch.
Good call there, Mr. Doan.
Well, you got to double up on it when the pitch previous was that good and stellar. Now you've got Hugo thinking up at the plate. Am I going to see 3 in a row? Normally not, but I would snap off a third one with the feel on it because you know how Hugo hits the fastball.
Yep. But right now we have Charlie Newton up.
Oh, that's right. As he did come back with the fastball, and Newton was a tad bit tardy on it, but just got a piece to stay alive.
Charlie Newton's going to he's a little pesky batter up there. He's not going to let anything slide by. He's going to be tough. And Charlie will fight to the end on this one. I can tell you that right now. With 1 ball, 2 strikes, Mason brings the pitch in. And it's going to be, okay, we have 1 out. Now it's 8-9 with 2 outs.
Next up,
and we have Mr. Hugo up. And you know what? You have an open base at second. Wouldn't it be a bad idea to give Mr. Hugo an intentional bow and let him go?
Well, the reason you don't want to do that is you don't want to put the potential game-winning run into scoring position while putting the runner at first down to second base. So I think that they're going to maybe pitch carefully to him, but I don't think that you can just give him a free pass.
I definitely would be worried about Mr. Hugo and his power that he's already shown out here twice today with putting 2 yard for the Garber Dukes as a freshman.
First pitch right down the old center. I think he was looking curveball. I really do think that he was looking for a curveball. If he was looking for a
fastball,
he found one.
Logan would have jumped all over that one.
There is the curveball, and they're going to call that inside, and Mason just took an extra step into the home plate to go, wow, that one looked like it was right there.
It was a very, very good pitch, obviously. Called the ball by the home plate umpire. Ooh, I think Mr. Hugo's trying to do a walk-off. And we can feel the wind coming back here right now.
Now, the fact that Schumacher has that control of the curveball right now, I think you go back to it again. I think you double up on it because he's looking cheese.
I'll tell you what, if you had a great changeup right now is a good time to mess him up.
And just getting a piece of the fastball. I tell you, this kid for a freshman plays beyond his years.
Oh, yeah. Logan's a great kid, and obviously you could tell one heck of a competitor. And you have Mason, who's a competitor, and that's what it's about right there. This is what it's about.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
8-9. Bottom of 7, 2 outs.
As he tried to snap that Charlie off again and didn't have a good release point on that. And Hugo had that thing whistle right by the old choppers.
Yes, sir. So, again, we're getting very close to
just getting an ever so slight piece of that curveball.
Bounces off the catcher. If catcher holds it, catches it, it's over. Foul. Again, this is a classic battle right here. You have the will to survive.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 runners on, 1 run down. And there's a shot to left field. And that is going to tie the ball game up. As Hugo just sat back with just the savvy of a senior for a freshman.
Definitely. Again, Logan Hugo has had a pretty good day today, I think.
I would say that he's probably earned his supper.
Yes. He's had a day-to-day which many kids don't have in a season. Again, now we have number 40, Grant McMartin, coming to the plate. 2 outs. Runner in scoring position. Base hit here could definitely win the game and or make a nice close play at the plate.
As McMartin just a little tardy on that first fastball.
Yep.
And you're almost certain on a base hit they're going to try and score the winning run. I would doubt, unless it's a real shallow hit ball, that they are going to not send the runner.
Yep. Now, I know if you ever knew Grant's dad's down there right now watching this very intensely. Quite the competitor that he is, and you know what? Grant is quite a competitor too. But you know, look at him. He's smiling right now. This is what it's about, having fun at the plate.
This is why you play the game.
This is it. This is why the parents get a little excited and get gray hair.
1 ball and 1 strike. McMartin back up the middle. And that ball will be taken. And that is 6 unassisted to second base. And now the officials are going to talk things over. Are they going to let him play another inning, or are we done?
I don't know. They're still saying, I have no official word. They're looking, and officials are handing the balls to coach, and it looks like they're lining up, and it's a tie game. Kiss your sister, and then game number 2.
Well, I'll tell you what. You have got to really give it up for the Garber Dukes for what they've been able to do, coming back, spotting Central 8 runs, and then coming back. But you look in this ball game, Central's 9th run that they scored really was a big factor in this game.
Yep. That 1 run by the hit by Nick Birdsall to score, I think it was Mr. Bernard, definitely helped them out. And again, you know, you have to give a lot of kudos to Mr. Cheslett, who pitched a very good 6 innings there, and Mr. Hugo, who made them pay a couple different times, and it was a great game. This is what it should be. You know, obviously there's got to be winners and losers and sometimes ties, but this was a great second game between 2 rivals, which, you know, these kids are going to go Snapchat and Twitter and all that other stuff that these kids do nowadays and talk about this game, and they'll talk about it forever about, yeah, remember we were down 8-0, we came back, and yada, 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 yada. But it's a great opportunity for these kids in the city who obviously play in 2 different leagues, not for a championship, but have the opportunity to play with each other and against each other, and a lot of them are good friends off the field.
Well, that's the whole key. They're all friends off the field, so that will give them a reason to chat about this game for a while. But that puts the wraps on this ball game, ending 9-9. Brian, it has been a pleasure having you next to me, and I will look forward to having Gwiz buy you some lunch someday for stepping in on his behalf.
Yeah.
But you did a tremendous job tonight, and we couldn't be happier.
Mr. Doan, thank you so much for the invite to come up here and do this. I appreciate it, and hopefully people at home are okay with how I did here tonight, and I enjoyed it. Again, what a great game. I mean, you could have broadcast the first game, but you could not have broadcasted a better game in game number 2 for these 2 great competitive teams.
I think there's a reason why we did the second game, and we saw how this game ended and what a great game it was. So we thank you all. We look forward to tomorrow. We're going to be out doing the Western Invitational of tennis, and then we're going to have a little bit of Central softball. How about golf, not tennis?
Yeah,
all
tennis,
right. Yeah, and then we're going to do track next week. We're going to do the dedication from Pinconning, followed by the track meet. So a lot of good things coming on Bay County TV. Nick Page, another great, masterful job producing and directing. Jared and Natalie Doan, great job. The camera work. Our whole family here at Bay County TV. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.